We're Bison! We are impacted! We're Bison! We're ready to get up! We want to win! Light the fire of power and make us free! We never break down! We want to win! We are impacted! The best team!
Hello and welcome back to episode 47 of Impacted, coming to you live via the Total Nonstop Impact Network on YouTube and Twitch. I'm your host Bison. Today I'm joined by Mr. Daily Giggle himself, the Joker, and of course the man simply known as Steve. Hello guys, how are we doing?
Oh, good.
Doing well. What about yourself, Steve? How are you?
Yeah, we're fine, thanks. Can't complain.
Can't complain. I like it. Have we been up to anything particularly interesting this week? I know that Steve's been working a lot this week as well, haven't you, bud?
Yeah. So it's been getting busy now. The weather's nice. Everyone's getting back to their usual day-to-day activities that sadly they haven't been able to for the last few years.
No, exactly. Of course, working in a hotel, I should imagine things are starting to get busy now as well, aren't they?
Yeah. Everyone's packing their weddings out, and aren't they?
Oh God, yeah. All those weddings that have been put on hold, they're all starting to happen now. Fair enough.
Yeah.
What about you, Joe? You've been enjoying the weather? You've been out in the garden?
I've been out in the garden. I've also been recovering from a massive bollock of a toothache that came up last week. It's been
God.
literally crippled me all weekend. Unable to do anything. Pump full of bloody painkillers all weekend, right up until Tuesday afternoon.
Mate, nobody needs that.
No, it's the second time it's happened in about just under 6 months. So it's also came around at a frustrating time because I missed a podcast for the Wrestle Buddy on Sunday because I couldn't talk.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that bad? Oh, man.
It hurts to swallow still, and but it's not as bad as it was.
Do you know what, right? The hardest thing you can do is get over to your children how important it is that they definitely maintain brushing their teeth 2 or 3 times a day. They do it for a good length of time. It's a nightmare. They never want to brush their teeth. And do you know why? Because they've never had a toothache. Right?
Oh, yeah. No.
I say to them all the time, I'm like, for God's sake, trust me, you don't want a toothache. It's like the worst pain ever.
Oh, this is a broken tooth that's not fully come out. So
I am not saying that you don't brush your teeth, mate. I'm just saying one of the hardest things in the world to do is to get your kids to brush their teeth. Trust me. Until the day that they get a toothache, and then they understand. Then they understand. Wow. But here's our work. Anyway, guys, at this point, can I just ask that anybody who's in the chat at the moment or anybody taking care, can you please just give us a thumbs up, get that completely out of the way. Make sure that if you're new, that you hit that subscribe button and give the bell a tickle or a squeeze, whichever is best for you. So never miss any of the great content coming out each and every single week from TNI-UK and, of course, the US teams. Remember, the flagship show every Thursday after Impact has aired on Access and, of course, Impact YouTube Insiders now. The show is fully available, and we get the reviews and the thoughts of the US, and sometimes some of the members of the UK team might pop up every now and again. You never know, but to give you their thoughts and opinions on the show as it's aired. So it's absolutely fantastic. I'll just say hello to Zach Bonifer in the chat. We've got RK Shuttleworth. So nice to see you, buddy. I think it's certainly not your first time. You've been here a few times now. I'm watching on Twitch, both watching on Twitch, which is great. So anyway, great to see a few people in the chat getting involved at the moment. But like I said, please don't forget to give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, tickle, squeeze, hit, smash, do whatever you need to do to that bell to make sure you never miss any of the great content coming out every single week. Now, guys, let's get stuck into that impacted recap of the week. We've got quite a lot of things to be talking about. Not quite as much as last week, but there's certainly some big things going on as well, that's for sure. So, first of all, I want to get the sad news out of the way, first of all. The sad news came out towards the tail end of last week that former WCW, TNA, and currently signed to Shimmer star Daphne has passed away. And here at TNI-UK, we would like to send all our love and condolences to her family and friends at this time. An incredible talent will be missed, definitely will be missed. So, all our love goes out to Daphne's family and friends. Moving on from that, unless anyone's got anything to say, on that, on the Daphne?
No, I've got a lot I want to say, but it's too explicit, shall we say, to play it out here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go into details on how and what went down. I think it's time just to basically mourn and send our love and wish her family all the best at this time. Wonderful talent, and will be sorely missed. Yeah. So moving on to probably the biggest news. Let's get the biggest news of the week out of the way, which is with regards to obviously AEW All Out. We had we had some arrivals, didn't we, boys? We had Ruby Soho turn up first. Now, the reason I'm going to get this out and done out of the way first of all is because obviously they're not particularly Impact talents, but you can't ignore, with the partnerships that we've gotten on, the Forbidden Door being open in the moment, you can't really ignore some of the stuff which is going on, some of the fantastic stuff. Like you say, a couple of weeks ago, we had Punk return to wrestling, and now we seem to be seeing a few more. So we've got Ruby Soho turns up and wins. Was it like a battle royale? I haven't watched it all out yet. I haven't had the time, but I know Steve has watched it, so I'm going to rely on Steve on this one. So Ruby arrived during, was it like a battle royale type scenario? I think she won. Is that right, Steve?
Yeah, she did. Yeah. Was it
a good match? Did she get a good? Did she get a standing O?
Yeah, she got a decent showing in it. Yes.
So it was. I mean, was it a good match? Did she do a good job? Was the crowd into her?
She got a good pop. Yeah, definitely.
Because I mean, one thing was for sure, there was a lot of build up over the last sort of month or so with some of those vignettes that she was doing with regards to the runaway, and then of course, obviously, we then see her turn up with the music because obviously the Ruby Soho thing is from a song, isn't it? She was using that music as her intro, so that must have took some getting the the royalties for that kind of thing, getting the legal stuff. So yeah, interesting to see really that she turned up. She seemed to get a good run. I think she's got a great look, very different. It'd be interesting to see what she brings to the female division at AEW. Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. And I believe Thunder Rosa was there as well. Is that right? Did she debut? Well, not debut, but was she in that same match?
She was, yeah. Obviously, she's been in and out of that company, hasn't she? Sort of, well, not in and out of the company, but she's been there through association with NWA, hasn't she? Yeah. So she's definitely been getting some showings, hasn't she? Again, that Forbidden Door being open, I guess, yeah. So it's interesting to see exactly, where we're potentially going to go with all of this. I'm hoping that it could help, give a different slant to the female division over there. It's not sort of kind of renowned for being particularly impressive at the moment. So, maybe Ruby can add something different to the division. Again, it's one of those where the female division itself is actually pretty good. It's just the booking, sadly.
Yeah, totally. They've got the talent. They just don't seem to know how to use it properly, which is a shame. There's a lot of awesome talent there. And there's a lot of potential.
You could swap AEW's talent with Impact's talent, but it would still look the same because you've got the same booking agency behind it, sadly. Yeah. I see what you're saying. Okay, well, that's great. So then we had
the main event. And then for me, I find this a bit weird the way they seem to be introducing people in at the moment. It's a kind of, for me, I find it a little bit sort of kind of, what's the word? Not really thought about.
There's
not
no
really
build.
thought about. There's no real build to it all. They just seem to turn up. So we then had obviously the return of Adam Cole, Bay. Now, obviously, an incredible talent, and it's great to see him. Obviously, jump from WWE NXT over to AEW. Got a fantastic reception. He's obviously joining back up with his his elite friends. That was very clear. And then, of course, we had the big one, which was Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon, turning up as well. So that was pretty impressive on its own. But again, for me, like, it seems very lackluster in the way that they're doing it. All right, it's was it a big surprise Bryan Danielson turned up? Probably not, but the crowd went crazy. I saw some of the highlights from this. It looked like the crowd went pretty crazy on that. So I'm happy with that. I think it's great that he's getting involved. I mean, he's also mentioned some of the fantastic talents outside of AEW that there is a potential for him to get involved in, which is great. So who knows where this is all going to go over the next sort of, couple of months, couple of years, possibly.
Put him against Josh Alexander and let's see what happens.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah, no, I mean, Bryan Danielson versus Josh Alexander, I think, would be an absolutely, match of the year contender. What about you, Steve? What are your thoughts on this? I know that you watched the show, so
like you said, I was kind of surprised by the end of the show, because for me, the Danielson debut kind of took away a little something from Adam Cole's debut. You had Adam Cole debut, and then Danielson come out, and you feel like, I'd have had one of them come out earlier in the show.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly it. I agree. I think maybe, you should have had either, Bryan coming out with a different Bryan Danielson coming out a different section, or maybe Adam Cole, and then you've got Bryan at the end. I don't know. It just seemed a little bit lackluster for me. They're not really being very imaginative with the way that they're bringing in these guys. It's great they're there, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. But at the same time, I just think they could have made more of it. Do you know what I mean? It's just not.
I will say, I'm not surprised that either of them went there.
No, Christ, no, not surprised at all. When
you look at both guys, that is kind of where I expected them to fit.
Of course, I agree. It's probably the perfect place for them. It's just going to have to wait and see how they book them, where they go with it. If maybe there's any of the Forbidden Door crossovers, would be quite nice. Christian's been here. Obviously Kenny's been here, so there's no reason why Impact couldn't maybe see a couple of the other guys as well. So, but it'd be interesting to see. But we've got the AEW stuff out of the way. So fantastic news. Great to see Adam Cole, Ruby Soho, and Bryan Danielson all turning up at AEW All Out over the weekend, which is great. A lot of people saying, pay-per-view of the year. Some of them like some big praise of pay-per-view of the last 10 years and all sorts of stuff going on. Not too sure about that, but we've had some big people turning up on AEW recently, so really, really cool. We then move on. Now, I want to talk about this one because I think this one's a bit odd. So Matt Cardona loses his GCW title to Jon Moxley. Now, I didn't see this. It sort of kind of just suddenly crept up. It turned up on the on some social media with Jon Moxley now the new GCW champion. Now, I've done a little bit of search. I'm not quite sure how this all panned out, but I believe Jon Moxley turned up under a mask and hoods and all sorts of stuff and beat Matt Cardona out of the blue. Does anybody know much on this one? I mean, in the chat, fill us in if you want to. I was a bit surprised on this. Did Joe, Steve, do you know much on this?
But apart from when just hearing about Jon Moxley beating Matt Cardona, I don't know much else about it. But I will say this: if this is it's awesome. It's great to see that Matt Cardona is being pushed around a lot more. He's it's great to see. He had all this hype and excitement that he's the new champion, which is fantastic. And immediately John Moxley's come along and literally destroyed him and left him in a complete mess. And
yeah.
I'm thinking this could spill over to Impact Wrestling. This could spill over to AEW. So it's a great way for GCW to get involved with everybody as well now. It's
So hang on, what we got here? So we've got someone there in the chat there from William Gardner. He's saying Moxley came back. Actually, I can't see it properly. Can you see it, Steve?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. When Cardona took the title from Cage, he came back under a hood, didn't he? And all thought it was Moxley.
That's right. Yeah. So he's just sort of kind of like doing the same thing, is he?
Yeah, Moxley came back like Cardona debuted, where they thought it was Moxley the first time round. So Moxley's basically doing what Cardona did when Cardona came in to GCW. Everyone thought it was Moxley then, and Moxley's now returned the favor and saying, "This is me. I'm the real fucking king of a deathmatch."
Okay, that makes sense. Can I just say a big hello to Bill, to Ringside Bill in the chat there. Jason Michael's in there as well. Obviously, we said Lakers. So it's nice to see a few. Oh, Wrestle Buddy's in the house as well. Nice to see you, buddy. Wrestling Nation, which is cool. So we got quite a few people in the house now. So it's great to see you guys in the chat. Don't forget to leave us all your comments. Let us know your thoughts on anything we discussed tonight. So interesting to see how all that's going to pan out now. I'm sure we're going to get some sort of feud with Matt Cardona.
There has been talk about like another promotion, like smaller promotion, maybe slowly entering the circle. Do you think GCW could be that promotion?
It could be.
It could be OVW is another one that's getting a lot of build recently. They've recently and now might be unconfirmed, but Jesse Goddard has mentioned today they might be going on for a new 2-year television deal, and they are currently the third most watched pro wrestling company in the States on any network. So they're building a lot of momentum. So there's potential that they might be spilling over too. But I think if it's out of those two, it might be GCW because OVW works with Impact Wrestling quite well already.
Yeah, they do.
They're claiming to being watched more than Impact.
Statistically, they are.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm interested in that one. What are your thoughts on that one, Bill? Do you know too much about the GCW ratings and stuff? I'm really surprised, to be honest. Are they on a better TV network in the States then?
I think so, yeah. There's not a lot of detail about it. It's I've only just seen it today on Jesse Garland's Twitter profile. It's all. He said, "Don't take my word for it. This is what I've heard." And he's like popping the company and promoting the company. So there's big news due to be announced about this about what's happening with them.
Oh, interesting. No, definitely interesting stuff going ahead. I mean, I know that they managed to get some international distribution deals as well. So
that always helps.
Definitely, that helps a lot, man. That helps a lot. So, yeah, interesting to see where all that is going to pan out then. But I certainly think we're going to be heading towards a Cardona Moxley feud, and if that spills over to Impact, that would be quite cool. Now, moving on. Now, this past week on Impact, we had a very, very impressive return against Josh Alexander of the legend Jake Crist. Managed to get him on the review show directly after his appearance last Thursday, which is fantastic. Jake is been making waves. He's been blowing up the internet. Lots of people have been saying we need Jake back. But interestingly enough, I think that Jake is definitely shaking a few trees, and there's definitely a few people looking at him again now on whether he can whether he's going to be a great addition further down the line. I'm not sure whether he's booked in for the next set of tapings, but that doesn't mean to say that we can't see him again later on in the future. Really, really impressive showing. I thought, the crowd, he got a massive pop. The crowd were definitely with him, and I think he gave Josh Alexander a hell of a match. And just goes to prove that he's got himself in great shape. There was no ring rust because he's been smashing it on the indies, and he just put in a great performance. At the end of the day, # bring back Jake. That's all I've got to say. What are your thoughts on this, Steve?
Yeah, like you said, that as soon as he walked out, he got those welcome back chants, and that just shows you what the Impact crowd think of him. He is someone that Impact would welcome back openly. And for me, the Jake Crist that we knew wasn't the Jake Crist we saw in there. He had a slightly different style to him, which I liked. He changed his in-ring style slightly, and obviously he changed his look. But yeah, it was a different Jake Crist that we saw. It was a completely fresh wrestler. Really, it was someone completely different, and I feel we'll see him again a couple of times, and I feel maybe not by Bound for Glory, but I reckon by Hard to Kill, we'll see him back on the roster.
It would be good to see him back on the roster, even if it's on a sort of kind of pay-per appearance deal. It would be great to see him back on the roster. What about you, Joe? What do you think?
Awesome, absolutely amazing to see Jake Crist back. All I can say is I'm going to carry on what his request was after he spoke to did an interview with I forgot the name of the thing. But then they plugged the guys at TNI as well. So Jake Crist said, I'm willing to come back to Impact Wrestling if I feel welcome there, if the fans want me there. So all I say to everyone is hashtag at Scott D'Amore or hashtag we want Jake Crist, and send that out to Scott D'Amore, guys. Get it trending, get it break the internet. We want Jake Crist back.
Hashtag we want Jake Crist. Get it out there. The bottom line is that there's so many guys out there now that let's make sure that the Impact management really know that we want to see him back. Hello, Eric. Nice to see Slowpoke in the house. We've got Paul Nelson in the house as well. So, building up some guys coming in. It's great to see you guys. Don't forget to leave your opinions on anything that we talk about tonight.
Yeah.
We're very much interested in what you've got to say. So it's great to see Jake return. I thought,
one thing I really did love was that the chain offense he managed to pull off is like Steve said, it's completely different from what we saw before. There was less use of his legs, which is a shame because I loved all the kicks and stuff he does. But his grappling game is
feet, didn't they?
Yeah,
and he didn't use them.
His grappling game is really, really up the ante, and it really helped him keep from toe to toe with Josh Alexander. But that chain neck breaker, and then following up with something else was just awesome. And then Josh Alexander managing to get the trifecta of suplexes on him with the deadlift German, and the way Jake Crist sold that was awesome. And Jake Crist took a hell of a beating in that match. So to come back knowing that you weren't going to win, but you were going to come back and hopefully make a big impression. Jake Crist has done that definitely, and I hope we see him again. I hope he's. The rumors are he might be around for the next set of tapings, and then see where it goes from there. I hope we see him come back in the future. Like Steve said, probably Hard to Kill, probably even Rebellion next year. We see him back on contracts.
No worries. Steve, what's the question that Travis wants me to read? I'm struggling to see the comments in the private chat for some reason. So if you can see them. Travis is asking a question there, and I can't see it.
He said, "Did you hear Impact might bring him back because he has a good mind, and they told him that that Jake wants to be a creative writer for Impact and a wrestler too?"
Well, I mean, I've not heard that. Jake's has not said anything like that to me. You're right; he is quite creative. I mean, he obviously does a lot of stuff with Pro Wrestling Revolver. He's definitely on the creative side there. Apparently, he said this in an interview. Well, it would be great to have him on there. He's not, like I said, he's not mentioned that to me. But let's face the facts. I think it has been mentioned that people are impressed with Jake. At the end of the day, he's a good guy. He's good to have in the locker room. He does have a creative mind. So hey, who knows? I mean, you only got to look at his, the way he's kind of redeveloped himself. He's got some great new in-ring gear. He's got himself in great shape. He's got a new type of character. He's been working on some different offense, as well. So, and he's a great seller. It's like, there's not many people out there that can sell as well as Jake can. You definitely believe he's getting beaten the crap out of when he's on when he's being beat down. So it's all good. But like I said, guys, let's get We Want Jake Crist back trending tonight. During the show, it would be great. Don't forget to get at Scott Demore in there as well, so that he can see all of this. Yeah, again, it's all about sort of kind of creating waves, making getting noticed. So we go from the mini draw to the golden draw to the Man in Black. That's all I've got to say. What
an artist.
Exactly, the artist. The artist. No one can play the 3-string like Jake Crist, that's for sure. See, there you go. We managed to plug all of them, all of his catch lines. It's all in there. We love it. We love you, Jake. So fingers crossed we get to see you again. Right, moving on from that, we then get Ace Austin versus Christian Cage on a one-on-one Impact World title for Victory Road on September the 18th. This came about, obviously, because Ace Austin last week beat Tommy Dreamer one-on-one. I wouldn't have expected anything less. In fact, I'm extremely disappointed if Ace had lost to Tommy Dreamer. I don't think that would have done Ace any favors whatsoever. So hopefully this is giving him a bit of a rub, and then moving on, we can see a really, really good match or a really good main event of Ace Austin versus Christian Cage at Victory Road. What were your thoughts on this match with Tommy and moving forward to this main event, guys? Well, let's start with you, Joe.
I thought that the match was great. Tommy Jr. wasn't out of shape or anything in this match. He took the bumps. He delivered the bumps. It was very, very evenly paced throughout the entire night, and it took Ace Austin outsmarting the veteran to win the whole thing. Madman Fulton had to take the DDT, so Ace Austin could hit the fold through the ropes. It was a great showing from Tommy Dreamer, but I didn't expect Tommy to win. And if he'd won, it wouldn't have. I was on the fence about it because I didn't want to be negative because I'm a huge Dreamer fan. If Tommy Dreamer would have won, it honestly wouldn't have made any difference to me if he'd won or if he'd lost, because chances are Christian's going to be going through to Bound for Glory. But I think Ace Austin and Christian at Victory Road is the right decision. It's a great way to just build Ace Austin up more, because at the moment there is no other challenger for the world title. So who's he going to actually beat to get that extra buzz going into Victory Road? It's no point in having him face Christian, beat or lose to Christian before Victory Road. At least give him a match with someone who's got the experience like Tommy Dreamer, and that's what they've done. Moose is doing something else. Eddie Edwards is doing something else. Sammy Callahan, we don't know where he is. So they made the right decision in the end. It's all the wonders of hindsight.
Yeah. What about you, Steve? What do you think?
Yeah, like Joe said, I thought the match itself was very good. You can tell that Dreamer's got that extra step in him now that the fans are back. I do think the match was slightly more competitive than it needed to be. But the finish itself, I thought, was fantastic because it does show that Ace can hit the fold from absolutely anywhere.
Yeah, definitely. I think I love the fold. That's a devastating move. That is when he hits that, it's very spectacular. Yeah. It's a great move.
It's the UK Union Destroyer.
You reckon it could be? It could well be.
Except nobody else copies it.
No.
Nobody else can.
So all I've got to say really is I think this deserves to be a one-on-one match. So I'm happy as long as nobody else suddenly gets sort of kind of added into this one. We have got 2 more shows. So we've got tomorrow and the week after to sort of kind of like really build up Ace into this one. So I'm looking forward to seeing this one. Who could Ace beat leading into the Christian Cage match to really show that he's a credible contender? Ooh, I don't know. Who could it be?
Well,
I'm sure.
Are they?
You what? Sorry, mate.
No one's in that sort of main event position, are they, to kind of be able to beat?
I'm going to say this. I think we're going to get Chris Bay versus Ace Austin next week. And he's going to beat Chris Bay. He's going to beat Chris Bay, which will then give him that credibility to go into that number 1 spot and have a great match with Christian. There you go. I've said it. Or maybe someone like Eddie Edwards or something like that he'll go in against. He needs to go in against someone that has got that pedigree of world championship type thing, so that when he goes into that Christian Cage match, he's got something behind him. Well, I've beaten a former, world champion, or I've done this or I've done that. Do you understand what I'm saying? You've got to give him. You've got to give him that credibility when he goes into that match, so that you can say to him, "Yeah, this guy could be a real credible world champion." I personally think he could be. I think he's got everything. He's got all the tools in his arsenal to be a great world champion. And could he be the youngest ever world champion? Well, we're just going to have to. It's inevitable. It's inevitable. We're just going to have to wait and see. Now,
there's a name that has just been pulled up. James Storm calling back.
Oh, yes, I would love it if it was just if James Storm would come out and try and shut Austin up. That would be awesome.
I mean, there's so many potential people in there that could come out. Definitely, it's interesting though as well. Is that there's lots of people like Bonkers has just come out saying that he'd rather that Chris Sabin was the Impact champion. Well, there's the possibility that could happen. I'd love to see Chris Sabin versus Kenny Omega. I'm not going to lie. I think those two would have an absolute slobber knocker. But yeah, there is a possibility of that. I'm still on the route that Josh Alexander is probably now moving heavily towards the potential next, BFG final of some sort, a BFG match headlining against Christian Cage, possibly. That would be an incredible match. I'm telling you that now. That would be an incredible match. But who knows? But what we do know is that Josh Alexander versus Chris Sabin is also set for Victory Road. Now, Sabin comes out last week after Josh Alexander defeats Jake Crist, again, over a really, really good match. He comes out after that where Josh obviously was cutting an in-ring promo. Sabin comes out and saying, well, if you want to be the, classed as the best, then you've got to beat the best. I mean, what is he, 9-time?
Yeah, 9-time X Division champion.
So potentially he could become 10-time X Division champion, which would really solidify him as the best. However, I think it's going to be a case of Josh Alexander gets the win here and really solidifies him as one of the best. But we'll have to wait and see on that one. What are your thoughts on this, guys? What are your thoughts on the segment? What are your thoughts on this match for Victory Road? Let's go with you, Joe.
The segment was awesome. It was great to see Gia Miller still asking that now seems sort of petty and ignorant question. Why are you still putting this title on the line? Why are you... Josh Alexander, like you said, he needs to put the title on the line because he needs to make a name for himself. Even though he's the champion, he still knows he needs to make a name for himself. It's all about him and his legacy, all that. That was brilliant promo work from Josh Alexander. And even though he shot down Gia Miller, he didn't do it in a heel way. He just was just blatantly obvious, blatantly honest with her, rather than shooting her down like in an insult, just because I need to. And then the way Chris Sabin come out, part of me was expecting a heel turn from Josh Alexander, but I don't know why, because he's played the role of face like this so well. To turn him heel now just wouldn't make any sense. But the way Chris Sabin was down, one of them was going to hit the other one. I thought this is got to happen. So when Chris Sabin quickly diffused the situation, just cut straight to the promo, another fantastic promo by Chris Sabin. Again, doesn't get enough praise for how good his promo skills are, and this was awesome. The way he's counting up how many times he was champion. Part of me was also thinking, yeah, you're a 9-time champion, but you've lost it 8 times. What does that say? But then there's the ratio, like how many days has he held it as champion combined, and all this sort of stuff. When lost, who's he beaten to become champion, etc., etc., etc. It's not like he's been a 15-time world champion for the sake of being a 15-time world champion.
Yeah. I mean, the interesting thing is that what Josh gets out of this is a serious rub, because not only if he wins this match, not only is he beating the 9-time X Division champion, but he's also beating a former world champion. So, that's quite and a former tag champion.
Yeah. It's triple count.
He's beating a Triple Crown, wrestler. So, it's interesting how this one is panning out. And I think it's the right move if we're starting to elevate Josh. Well, I don't know. That's my thoughts on that. What are your thoughts in the chat with regards to Chris Sabin, with regards to Josh Alexander, Victory Road? Would love to hear what you guys think. I think what's Ricky Glow got to say there? I mean, he's saying a joke heel turn change. He's put underrated. He teaches something around. Cut promo, very good at promos. Yeah, I mean, he's very good at what he does. You know, he's very, very good at what he does. Now,
say when the Guns were together, everyone was always praising how good Shelley was, and Sabin never kind of got any look in. But when Sabin was on his own, it really showed how good Sabin was.
I agree with that. I think when they're together as the Machine Guns, he's always the one which sort of kind of takes the glory when it comes to the promos, and sort of Sabin just adds his little bit here and there, didn't he? But you're right, this really does help, really show how good a promo guy he actually is. So that's great to see. Now for some, sorry, Joe, go on.
One of the biggest highlights to me for Chris Sabin as far as promo work has been the bit in Swingers Palace with James Storm, and he just whacks the table. I love Swingers Palace. No one's messing this up. I love Swingers Palace, and that
he loves Swingers Palace, doesn't he?
From that moment onwards, his promo work just got better and better and better, and really, really stood out more. It's like you stick someone with James Storm, and immediately their charisma shoots up to 15. It's amazing. And Chris Sabin just carried it on from there. It's from brilliant.
The promo he had with Josh would have been topped if he'd have pointed to the belt and gone, I love this.
Yeah.
He would have done. That would have been amazing. But he's definitely been showing that he's got the skills when it comes to the promo side of things, definitely. Now, and for some really, really good news, actually, moving on from that, some really good news. Don West has recently released a statement saying thank you. He is well and truly on the mend, saying thank you to all the support from all of his, wrestling friends and family and everything else. This is fantastic news that he's doing really, really well. This is a hashtag Don West for the Hall of Fame, I think, but there you go. I'd love to see Don West come back and do another run, wouldn't you?
Yeah, at least haven't come up for Bound for Glory. Haven't come back to do one night like Bound for Glory every or Summerversary every year. That would be awesome.
Could you imagine? A little run? Don West, Mike Tenay, just a little run. Maybe just commentate Bound for Glory, and then both of them go into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that would be great.
Even if they do what Moro done and just come in for the main event.
Yeah, even if it's just for one match, it would just be great to hear Don West back on commentary.
It would be cool, definitely. The guys are just so enthusiastic, and it really would bring back some incredible memories, wouldn't it?
Yeah, Matt Strike is doing a fantastic job in carrying on like Don West is the passion and the enthusiasm, and Matt Strike's commentary is awesome. But Don West and Mike Tenay were just amazing.
Oh, legends. They are absolute legends, aren't they? Let's face the fact. So great news to hear that on with regards to Don. Fantastic news. Keep going, keep doing everything you can, keep staying well and fit. It's great to hear. Now, there is something that I wanted to say. There's something I wanted to add in here because it's something that's starting to get on my nerves. So we're starting to get flashback matches again. They seem to be creeping their way back into the weekly show. Impact, no, stop it. Stop doing it.
Yeah,
right? We don't want it. Right. At the end of the day, there's no need for it. We understand that you want to sort of kind of, show that Christian Cage has got a history with the brand. We get it. We do. But we don't need to see it on the weekly show. We really, really don't. Stop doing it. We didn't like it before. We don't like it now. Stop it now.
If you're going to use them to progress storylines, that's one thing.
Yeah,
like for example, Sammy and Eddie maybe look like they're coming together. So if you're going to put like the baseball shot that started it before you then show them, that's one thing.
Sammy and Moose.
Yeah, but
Eddie and Moose even.
I don't think you would show, but you would only sort of kind of show snippets of a feud.
Yeah, a snippet.
You wouldn't necessarily show a match.
No, not the whole match, and not even 5 minutes of it. Just like cut it down to 3 minutes of the highlights. put on the internet.
Use the flashback to your advantage to make people remember what happened to begin this whole segment, kind of thing.
Yeah, possibly, but the fact. I mean, at the moment they're just randomly showing matches, and
especially people like, I don't know, say from AEW or New Japan, who are just tuning in and may not know the history of some of the wrestlers.
Yeah. I'm not saying you shouldn't have something, but they're.
I'm saying I don't like it. I'm saying I don't like it, but Impact can use it to their advantage.
Yeah. I think that's the problem. I'm not saying they should ignore their past. I'm really not. And there's no reason why you couldn't have like a highlight package of Christian Cage's matches, right?
Well, then Sammy's at the table.
I just don't see the point in having the kind of flashback matches. I don't see it. I don't like them. I want to see. I've seen all that stuff before, and if I want to watch it, I can just go on the Impact Plus app and watch it. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't think it does what it needs. I'd rather spend that time with a slightly longer match, or stick another match on, or let's see some more kind of storyline progression. For me, it's a wasted 5-minute segment. I don't like it. Stop doing it. Simple as that. That's Beefalo. I'm giving you 100% pure Beefalo right now. Just stop flashback matches. They're rubbish.
Unleash the Bison.
Okay, so it's all good. So we then get some interesting stuff with regards to Chelsea Green and Rohit Raju feud, which seems to be proper hyping up on social media. We're getting loads of stuff coming out from Chelsea, quite a lot of stuff coming out from Matt Cardona and Rohit Raju. Let's face the facts that it was actually a pretty tidy match last week on Impact, and that knee from Rohit to Chelsea Green looked pretty mean, shall we say?
Yeah.
I don't know whether that genuinely knocked her out or not, but it was a hell of a knee shot. What are your thoughts on this match and the way that this feud is moving on, Steve?
Well, like you said about the knee, I mean, we were all talking about the V Trigger versus the Boston Knee Party, and we could have easily have put Rohit in that category, couldn't we?
I guess you could. Yeah, you could.
I mean, what a knee that was that Chelsea took. But I kind of just assumed this match would be the end of the sort of feud, and I don't really know where it's going now. I really don't.
Well, I think we could safely say there's definitely a feud brewing here between Chelsea and Rohit, because they are absolutely slamming each other pretty much every single day.
The thing is, I don't know.
Socials.
I don't kind of know what it's over. It just feels like it's a few. I don't.
Could
really
it be
know
that she's pissed off that he's just kneed her and knocked her out? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Oh yeah, but I don't really know what they were sort of. Why they were feuding in the first place, kind of thing.
Yeah, the reason why the rivalry basically kicked off is because Matt Cardona always seemed to jump behind Chelsea Green, and Chelsea Green would always throw herself in front of Matt Cardona to stop everyone from hitting him. And so Rohit is basically playing off of the fact that Matt Cardona is basically, in his words, hiding behind his girlfriend, and and he's not afraid to take a whack at anybody. Look at what he did to Jordan Grace. When he was exhibition champion, he's not afraid to step in the ring and promote equality and break down barriers and all that stuff. So he's using that to play to his advantage and piss Matt Cardona off in the process. And Chelsea Green's just like Sheriff, they're both just stuck in the middle, really.
I mean, I think let's face the facts. At the end of the day, if you want to give Rohit some exposure, feuding with Chelsea and Matt Cardona is one of the best ways to do it. Those guys have got some serious following, and I think it'd be interesting now to see where this one goes. I think obviously we're looking at some kind of intergender stuff going on here with these guys clearly. So yeah, let's see where this one. Let's see how this one unfolds. Let's just sit back, eat our popcorn, see where that one goes. We've also got Mother Sue Young seems to be continuing to take souls and adds, is it Brandy Loren into the what looks to be a potential new faction. You know, are we going to have a father in this one? You know, we've got Mother Su Young. Are we going to see, you know, father somebody rather turn up as well, or is this going to be an all-female faction? I don't know. What do we think on this one, boys? Let's go with Joe first. He loves this. He loves the undead realm and all that kind of stuff, don't you, bud?
Oh, Kimberly is not failing to terrify me. I will say that the way she's embraced this character is absolutely amazing. As where it's going, it's great to see that not everyone that's been taken has been wiped off the roster. It's great to see that Brandy Loren's still sticking around for a bit longer. So maybe she's on a longer contract that's not been announced, or maybe it's just until this whole storyline's over. But either way, it's good. It's good for her. It's good for Su Young, and it's good for Kimberly.
Yeah,
where it could be going to a full, it's rebuilding the whole undead bridesmaids theme that Su Young came in with. She's literally rebuilding the army. That's clear. If there's a father figure in it, it could either be Father James Mitchell, because let's face it, the Sinister Minister did warn Kimberly that Antiona Perazzo that if you want to get rid of Su Young and bring back Susie, you will pay the price. So James Mitchell's involved in this one way or another, or if, fingers crossed, you get someone like Bray Wyatt come in, he could take on the role as the father figure in this as well. Although I think realistically it'll be someone like James Mitchell if there is a father figure in this whole thing, because it just seems to make more sense to keep James Mitchell involved in this, even though he doesn't want to be.
Yeah. What about you, Steve? What do you think?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Joe. Like, I mean, I think it was one of them said basically they're not finished bringing souls into the group, and that just means that they will be adding to it. And the way I'm hoping that this is going is basically into a female version of what we used to see in as like the new church in the original days. That would be amazing. And obviously, if you're going in that direction, the father has to be Father James Mitchell. And I mean, as good as Su Young is, she's not known for her promos in this character, is she?
No, Su Young's entire purpose in as far as promo work as this character is to be as silent as possible and to be as intimidating as possible. So someone like James Mitchell would definitely be the one.
The talker, wouldn't he? So
the
other one would be Bray Wyatt, but that is obviously if he does come in, and would he want to kind of do this? If he does, fantastic. But if not, then James Mitchell would be the other one. And yeah, if you're going to lead a second version of the new church, you've got to have the original leader.
Yeah, I agree on that one, if that's where you're going to go with it. Now, SC Williams is saying that someone like Jake something could come in and be quite intimidating in the undead realm. Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, yeah, he's suggesting could Jake something turn out to be father? I don't know. It could be interesting. Now, this whole mother and father thing is interesting because sometime last year, when we were all sort of kind of, off, in lockdown, we were watching everything we could bloody find in sundry on Netflix, etc. I came across something which was sort of kind of about these androids that were like mother and father, and they were bringing up these young children, lost souls on another planet from Earth, kind of thing, and it's quite eerie because they were literally just called mother and father, these AIs, and actually just calling someone mother or just calling someone father, it's just got this kind of eeriness about it, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So I'm interested to sort of kind of like see where this does pan out, whether it's just going to be Mother Su Young leading this, or whether we're going to get some more people introduced into this. I'm pretty sure that there's definitely going to be some more souls swallowed up. Definitely. So it'd be very, very interesting. The only thing is for me though, is that obviously you've got Su Young, who's all part of the undead realm, but you've also got Decay and Rosemary, leading the Decay faction as part of the Undead Realm as well. So you've got to be a little bit careful that we don't start kind of muddying the water a little bit.
Yeah.
Almost like, you know, Ghostbusters, you don't cross the streams, right? So you just got to be a little bit careful, I think.
But they've always had that connection, though, haven't they?
They have. They've always had that connection there, but they always do totally different things.
The only time that it can get a bit muddy is if you have titles involved and they're fighting titles over the Undead Realm.
Yeah.
Well, that's the one thing about the Undead Realm stuff. It's not really about titles. You know what I mean? It's always about something completely different. So it doesn't really matter, which is good. So, but that brings me nicely onto Decay, funny enough. And what I want to talk about with regards to them, though, is that Decay have to be the most loved and over faction in Impact. When you look at the reactions they get as a team and individually when they come in now. Now, the crowds are all back. You know, DK really are getting some serious love from the Impact audience. Now, you know, and that's great. I mean, we all big fans of DK. We're all big fans of Rosemary and Steve here. And, of course, Havoc and Taurus now as well. But you can't beat Rosemary and Steve. You know, at the end of the day, those guys are the original Decay. You know, and Steve is so over, it's ridiculous. And I think until the craze come back, people just do not realize how over crazy Steve is. You know, as soon as they start coming out with the bite his face off chant, I love it. It's amazing. So I'm impressed, and I have to say, for me, I think they are the most over faction and individuals in the company at the moment. What are your thoughts?
Oh, they're the most over faction since and tag team since we had Matt and Jeff Hardy become the Broken Hardys. When Decay arrived with the base, they were straight over with the fans because they were so original. And Rosemary and Crazy Steve managed to bring that all right back in literally just under 6 or 7 months since they really officially came back together as Decay, when they brought Black Taurus in to take on Tennille Dashwood and Larry D and AC Romero. That was when we really got to see Decay back as Decay, and it just went upward from there. You know, Black Taurus might have lost a bit of momentum in between, but even that didn't damage how over the whole faction was with the fans, and people were still rallying behind them. And Crazy Steve and Rosemary, their creative genius just emulates through this tag team, and it's just amazing to see. It's hard to argue. There's no one more over now than either of them.
The crowd just go insane, don't they?
Yeah,
as soon as they come out,
insane.
they go nuts. What do you think, Steve? Are you in agreement with this, or do you? Oh
yeah, yes. It's been a long while since you see a whole unit that just can erupt the crowd. And like we were speaking about Jake, how he's just developed himself and the crowd just kind of now get fully behind him. That is what Steve has managed to do, just develop himself, and he's basically just so over.
Oh, I mean, just both of them, and the fact that they're so invested in their characters, for me, is just incredible. You know, wherever they be on the social media, whether they be, you know, obviously on the show, they're just totally engrossed in the character that they play, and that sells it. That's what makes everybody love them so much. That's what it's for me. It's just a shame
that they're nowhere near the top of the. They're nowhere near like the top of the tag team like ladder at the moment. They're kind of fighting.
As in, are you as in Taurus and Steve?
Yeah.
You mean? Yeah. Okay.
Obviously, Rosemary and Havoc have the knockouts belts, but yeah, you're kind of not seeing Taurus and Steve sort of going near Swan and Mac or kind of the Good Brothers, are you?
No, definitely. I mean, that's the trouble. Yeah, that's not going to happen yet. However, I still feel that the Decay caption, faction is not finished. I just feel that,
Oh no.
you know, I think there's potential in there for another member, but we'll just have to, you know, see how it all pans out. I'd love to see another member turn up as part of the Decay faction. Now, moving on swiftly, I'm obviously conscious of time. We're hitting at 55 minutes already, so we're doing well. We're doing well, boys. We had the Brian Myers and Sam Beale recruitment skit. I thought this was great and introduced us obviously to recent signing Zicky Dice. Do we think I'm not sure Zicky Dice will be in this faction for long before he sort of kind of like turns on him and we get maybe Brian Myers versus Zicky Dice as a you know, as a feud possibly. I don't know, but I have to say that this particular skit for me was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. Yeah. I thought that Sam Beale was great in it as well, and of course they had all of it in there. Manny Lemons was in there and a few other. I thought it was really good. I don't know, what were your thoughts on this section, Steve?
Yeah, like there was a few in here that I knew, a couple I wasn't aware of, but yeah, like you said, the whole segment was fantastic, and the two that were left for me were the correct two. And funnily enough, obviously we know Zicky Dice is signed with Impact, but like you said, you don't see Dice being in the group for too long, and I think it is because his personality probably would clash with Myers, and he probably doesn't need to be in the group really. But for me, if you've seen anything of Manny Lemons, I think he would fit perfectly with these two. His promo work, his personality, his in-ring work probably needs a bit of development, but he's the perfect person to work with Myers, I feel.
Yeah, no, I think you're right on that front. I think you're 100% right, and I think Manny would be perfect. What about you, Joe? What do you think?
Oh, the whole segment was hilarious. I'm going to have to get that out of the way right now before I burst out laughing. The whole segment was just hilarious. And I think like Steve said, the right two guys are definitely there. And I could see Manny Lemons and Sam Beale fighting off between each other to get the last slot to be who really is worthy of being Brian Myers' protege. But the way Sam Beale capped off the whole segment between the two of them left and saying, you know, if you guys play your cards right, you can get a shirt cut just like mine. That was absolute gold. That was the best one of the best promos I've seen from anybody. It's just made me laugh so much to see how quickly Sam Beale's developed from being almost like a deer in the headlights when Sammy Callahan was going around Trey McGill's training school, trashing the place, to this. It was just so brilliant that how Brian Myers has managed to bring this guy out of his shell. And Impact's just done a fantastic job in working with both of these guys. It's really, really helped keep Brian Myers in his momentum going after losing to Christian. It's just he just doesn't seem to have. It's like he never lost the match, or never even had the match. You know, it's just gone, done, back to what I was doing before. Like you would expect Myers to do. But just not let it bother him. Just brush it under the carpet and carry on. And it is in the most professional way. And it's just been brilliant to see how Myers is this real arrogant bastard. And Beale, it's what I was hoping we'd see with Eli Drake and Chris Adonis, really. But that just went completely flat on its face.
Totally.
It's been a while since we've seen like a veteran have a group of kind of, for a better word, like rookies that he's teaching.
Yeah. I think it's a really cool kind of concept, a cool idea. The learning tree of the most professional wrestler. I think it's really cool. I think it's a good idea, and I'm enjoying where it's going. I love the little vignettes when they talk about doing this, doing that, and what makes a professional wrestler, next lesson, and all that kind of stuff. Love it. I think it's a really cool idea, very creative, and I'm loving to see where this goes. How many talents are going to end up under the learning tree of Brian Myers? That's what we need to figure out. How many are going to be wearing fantastic T-shirts like Sam Beale? I don't know. It could be.
I will add that Sam Beale looked great with half the T-shirt over his head.
Yeah, he did. You're right. Yeah, definitely. So once this was all done, I also wanted to mention as well that we had Taylor Wilde, Jordan Grace, Rachel Ellering defeating the Influence last week as well in their first match on Impact. Now, say the Influence plus Caleb and a K. Now, as much I'm happy to see Wilde and Grace and Ellering win because they're like three of my favourites on the Knockouts roster at the moment. It's a bit disappointing to see the newly formed Influence lose in their first match. I was thinking that we were probably going to see the Influence get a win, heelish, obviously a heel win, to then prolong this to make this go a little bit longer. And of course, with the fact that they're newly formed, they've made a big deal of this. The Influence, they've made a big deal of Madison Rayne coming back. She was should have been the original. She was the partner that should have been to Neil Dashwood, etc. For me, I just feel they almost sort of kind of like ended this new kind of tag team literally with one match. That's kind of how it feels to me. But who knows where they're going to go with it in the coming weeks. But that's just how it feels to me. What about you, Joe? What are your thoughts on this?
I wasn't surprised that Madison Rayne and the Influence lost this one. It just, to me, it made more sense because one of the great things about a heel team is they can make a big deal about coming together and then fall flat on their face, but that they can then use that to their advantage. It's not like Jordan Grace and Rachel Ellering got back together again and then lost again just to go back around in circles because that's what happened as a face tag team. It made a lot more sense. This is now like we basically what happened really was the heel tag team just got outsmarted. They didn't lose because they got out wrestled. They just got Rachel Ellering just literally kicked Caleb's arms free from the ropes and they got pinned that way. So they need to go back and think a lot more. Be a lot more imaginative on how they're going to cheat their next victory.
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting on this one as well is I suppose the saving grace for the Influence is the fact that it was Caleb that was pinned and not one of those two, I guess, which is obviously the saving grace on this one. So Caleb got the pin, which means that neither of the actual tag team as such got the pin. So I suppose they didn't really lose. You could say that I suppose it's Caleb that lost, I guess.
Yeah.
But then I suppose that's the way that we could then sort of kind of like take this further. And then maybe we could end up getting the Influence just versus Grace and Ellering, possibly. And then we could get some sort of kind of feud going there. But all I know is I really enjoyed the match, and I like the way that they are kind of building this happy, smiley, fun, wild Grace Ellering kind of partnership thing going on. And then you've got the heel faction or the heel team of the Influence, sort of kind of building up through as well. So at the end of the day, what we're doing is we're sort of building that Knockouts tag team division without necessarily saying, we've now got a tag teams division. Straight away, you know that we've got Jordan Grace and Rachel Ellering. They've got matching gear, they're a tag team. You've now got the Influence, they're a tag team. We've obviously got the current champs, and we've now got Tasha teaming with Suzanne Evans. Is it Savannah? Sorry, Savannah Evans as well. So we are starting to get these teams that are starting to build up now. And of course there is a potential there with Sue Young and Kimberly, or even Kimberly and Brandy Lauren maybe could form a tag team with that sort of kind of faction as well. So there's a lot of potential in there. There's definitely a lot of potential in there. Now, Danny's just mentioned, don't forget Eddie Edwards, and Morrissey. We didn't see that coming. To be fair, I think you're right. I didn't see that coming either. But I think one thing is for sure, what we're going to see is some serious stuff come Victory Road. This feud is going to keep going and going. I think what we are going to see is Eddie Edwards, Sami Callihan versus obviously they would become the sort of kind of face team facing Morrissey and Moose. So I'm certainly hyped to see where that one goes. I think that would be that's going to be a hell of a matchup, definitely. Now, moving on from that, what I do want to mention here is I just want to give a shout out to the UK promotion Wrestle Carnival, who are putting out their second show of the year this Sunday, the 12th, and the Bison family, Boomer Bison, son of Bison, wife of Bison, they're all going to be there in Nottingham for Carnival of Honor. There's going to be some former TNA Impact talents that are going to be there. Doug Williams, former X Division champion, former tag team champion, is going to be there. In fact, I think Doug's main event in. We've got the self-proclaimed best wrestler in the world, Joe Hendry, the glorious one, as he's well known for. Joe Hendry's going to be on the card as well, so I'm looking forward to that. And also
singing along.
And also AEW favorite, so Trent's promotion there. AEW favorite Hyan is also going to be in action. So looking forward to seeing what she has to offer. Some of this UK promotion. So yeah, Wrestle Carnival will be. I believe it's also going to be showing via Honor Club as well. So Ring of Honor, the Honor Club. So if you're part of the Honor Club, then make sure you check this one out. It's going to be available to view on that. So yeah, UK promotion Wrestle Carnival this weekend. Carnival of Honor. So looking forward to that. I will take some photos. I may even get some comments from the Boomer Bison that we can play on next week's show, maybe, or we can put some live stuff out on Facebook or Twitter or whatever of us at the show. So keep your eye open for that, guys. That should be interesting. But moving on, tomorrow night on Impact, guys, we start off with BTI. Now, we all know that we're going to get some fantastic stuff on BTI. We're going to get the intel. We're going to get the scoops. We're going to get it all going on BTI tomorrow. But what we do have and what we do know we've got is the re-debut or you call it a re-debut of Laredo Kid versus John Schuyler. Now, there's been a lot of stuff with regards to Laredo Kid saying that he was on his way back to Impact Wrestling. I believe that they're looking to sign Laredo Kid. If they do, I think that would be absolutely superb. He's a fantastic wrestler. But interestingly, this is John Schuyler's second week in the BTI match. Who do we think is going to win this one? I'm a little bit on the fence. I mean, we know that John is definitely signed to the roster. We're not sure on Laredo Kid, but we do believe that Impact are strongly looking to sign him. This is a difficult one, isn't it, guys? I mean, where do we go with this? Does John get his second loss in a row, and we see Laredo Kid go over, or do we see John Schuyler go over Laredo Kid? What are your thoughts, Steve?
Yeah, as you say, it's a tricky one. I mean, I'm still not sure what the status of Schuyler is because he's still not on the roster, is he?
What, Schuyler?
Yeah, he's still not on the roster page.
No, he might not be, but he is officially signed. It's been publicly said.
But the fact, I wonder if they're gonna go on like this sort of, like they do occasionally, like these sort of few losses, and then we're going to see a proper heel run out of him. Like, okay, these losses are building up, and we're now. So I wonder if we're going to see Laredo Kid get the better of him here.
Okay, well, that's interesting. I mean, again, it depends on what they're looking to do with Laredo Kid as well moving forward. He's the sort of guy I'd like to see as an X Division champion. I'm not going to lie. What about you, Joe?
I think Laredo Kid's going to win. I think he's got the bigger star power to start off with. So to have him come in for a match like this, just to lose for the fans, it just doesn't make sense. Laredo Kid could then be like one of the guys to go on to face Ace Austin before his match against Christian, which is when I heard Laredo Kid's name pop up, that's someone I just thought put him against Ace Austin the week afterwards then, and to have him versus Ace Austin before he goes to face on Christian, because Laredo Kid made a huge impression over the GFW era. It might not have got the X Division title or anything, but he had a lot of awesome matches with Garza Jr. Had a lot of made a fantastic appearance in the X Division title matches he was in, and he could have been X Division champion then multiple times. He was one of my favorites. And the other option really is I know he's on AEW's radar as well. So Laredo Kid coming into Impact Wrestling again would be awesome. And it's a good incentive event for guys like Jake Crist. Laredo Kid was there during the GFW era, and he got a really high praise instead of Jake Crist. So Laredo Kid makes a name for himself and sees that, yes, this is a company I can go back to. Then there's no reason why Jake Crist doesn't do the same.
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree with that. Don't forget, we
want Jake Crist.
Hashtag we want Jake Crist. Let's get it out there, guys. We've mentioned it again. Hashtag we want Jake Crist. Get that over. Make sure that you tag Impact Wrestling and you're tagging Scott D'Amore in this one. Let's make him know. Let's get it out there. We then move on to Impact Wrestling over on Access TV. Or on Insiders if you're in the UK, or obviously Impact Plus. So we head on over to that. Now, I'm not going to mention this one, first of all. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure what's going to be the main event on this. Is it going to be the Bunkhouse Brawl match between Rich Swann versus Carl Anderson? I don't know what a Bunkhouse Brawl match is. Can anyone enlighten me on this one? I'm not sure.
I think it's just another no disqualification match or something like that. Hopefully, just between Rich Swann and Carl Anderson. Although, if it's no disqualification, then we're going to see Doc Gallows get involved, and we're going to see Willie Mack return. It's going to basically just to be a build to Victory Road, because Scott D'Amore even said to Rich Swann that you've got your title match. It's just wait for it. Just wait. He's giving the mismatch to basically let off some steam. So we know that come Victory Road, at least we're going to have Swann and Mack versus the Good Brothers. But I'm looking forward to this match regardless, because Rich Swann on fire is awesome, and Rich Swann and Carl Anderson needs to be tested a bit more. So give him someone he's underestimated and see how he gets his ass kicked.
I think the interesting thing with regards to Carl Anderson is that actually he's a really good one-on-one competitor.
He's an amazing wrestler.
I just don't think people realize how good Carl actually is. So getting the opportunity to go one-on-one with someone like Rich Swann is a really good call. What about you, Steve? What do you think on this one? Do you know much about Bunkhouse? I mean, I started to think, is this going to be one of those where it's actually a cinematic match? It's kind of like one of those where they're out in. I don't even know what a bunkhouse is. Is a bunkhouse like?
I guess I just like one of those things where different cities, they call it different matches.
Yeah,
like hardcore. Hardcore. They call it one thing. Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's.
I don't know. Are you think I'm assuming a bunkhouse would be like maybe where cowboys would stay, in the bunkhouse.
Yeah,
because it's got the beds in. You know what I mean? The bunk beds or whatever, the bunkhouse. I don't know.
I just assume it's a fourth count anywhere, maybe, or something like that.
Okay, I just had a feeling that maybe we're going to get a cinematic match out of this one, but if not, if it's just a hardcore match, then cool. I'm down with that. Yeah. Will be interesting to see if any bunks are involved in this one, or any.
Wouldn't it be great if they did bring something like that, a bunk bed,
or any houses? I mean, maybe we could get some, kitchen sinks, and you could get all sorts involved in this one. But yeah, looking forward to seeing where this one goes. Yeah. We've then got Chris Bay and David Finlay advertised. Now, what are our thoughts on this? Because I know David Finlay's a hell of a talent, in-ring performer. We know Chris Bay is just out of this world. Again, I think we've got one hell of a match here. I think people, if you were to look at this card, right, it's a pretty fire card, this, if you know the guys involved. So Chris Bay versus David Finlay, I think this is going to be a cracker. What do you think, Steve?
Well, yeah, we only saw this a couple of weeks ago, didn't we? So it's definitely going to be a fantastic match. The interesting thing is, like, what's going to happen, because, like I say, we saw it a couple of weeks ago. So something has got to happen here, whether, we see Jay White again or we see Juice Robinson again.
Okay, because the last time we saw Juice Robinson, he was getting a beat down, wasn't he?
Mm.
And that's the last we saw of him, wasn't it?
We haven't seen Jay White for a while either, have we?
No, we haven't. So I don't know whether he's going to be at this set of tapings. I'm not sure.
Like I say, and the last match between them was fantastic, and it ended, clean, I think, with Bay obviously using the ropes. And we can't have really, I don't think, another, clean finish. I don't something's going to happen. Something has got to happen here, I feel. You do? Okay. You think maybe Jay White's going to get involved. Okay. What about you, Joe?
I think we're going to see Juice Robinson return, and Chris Bay's still going to get the win, but we're going to start seeing all the like the guys on the outside coming back in now. So this week we'll see Juice Robinson come back. Next week we might, or the week after, we might see Jay White come back, and then we might get Jay White and Chris Bay versus Finn Juice at Bound for Glory. I don't think we're going to get them for Victory Road. I think it's too soon, because we've not seen Jay White for since he brought Chris Bay into the Bullet Club. So
is there a possibility we could see some more members of the Bullet Club turn up?
That's the other thing we could do, yeah. And it'd be great if we got Ishimori, if we got him to come, that would be amazing.
And that's in the back of my mind, because obviously Iceman did say, didn't he, that he didn't think Bay or Jay White took Robinson out. So there is always that thing in the, that someone else will turn up.
Yeah.
Could it be?
Ishimori sprung to mind straight away. There's other guys in the Bullet Club, and Taji Ishimori is the only other guy that I'm really familiar with at the moment. So
but he's the Bone Soldier, isn't he? So the Bone Soldier turning up on Impact would be pretty cool.
And he has history too.
And like you say, he has history, so it would be interesting to see if Ishimori turned up. Now, we just don't know, do we? We just don't know, and that is the beauty of it all at the moment. We don't know everything that's going on, and I love that. And to be fair, I do try and stay away from any spoilers. So if anyone does know, we don't do spoilers here, so I don't want to have anything in the chat. I'm not sure as well. Because obviously this has all been taped already, so these matches have already happened. So it's going to be, so the potential spoilers are out there, but I've been trying my best to stay away from as many as we possibly can. But either way, I think we're going to get a great match. Are we going to get some more, are we going to get Juice turning up? Are we going to get a little bit more from the Bullet Club? What I do know is that they've advertised Bullet Club for Bang for Glory. They've been showing the Bullet Club logo. So, are we going to start seeing a few more members of the Bullet Club turn up with Jay White, over the coming weeks leading up to Bang for Glory? Who knows? Well,
they also had that thing with GOD and the Gorillas of Destiny and the Good Brothers, didn't they? Resurgence.
Exactly. So there's potential here for some seriously interesting matches going forward. You say, like, with regards to Willie Mack and Rich Swann getting a title match with the Good Brothers, is that going to be at Victory Road rather than we're going to get GOD at Bang for Glory? I don't know. It's definitely interesting. We then move on to the next advertising match, and we've got Macklin versus the Canadian Destroyer himself, P.T. Williams. Now, obviously, this has been building, over a few weeks now. Macklin basically trying to destroy anybody involved in the X Division. Is Steve Macklin heading for a run as an X Division title at some point in the future? I don't know. What are your thoughts on this one, Joe?
I want to reiterate from what we talked about last week. Steve Macklin's promo work is absolutely top notch. Yet again, he has knocked it out the park. And
his vignette on this past week's Impact was really good.
It was so intimidating and engaging. It was fantastic, and he's a damn brilliant wrestler. So I'm really excited to see this. It's pretty obvious that Pete Williams is going to get completely obliterated, sadly, for PT. He's like Tommy Dreamer. He's not there to really pick up the wins. He's there to put guys over. Is it going to be a bad match? No, it's going to be a fucking brilliant match. It's, no doubt about it. And it's going to be great to put Steve Macklin over. It's going to be great to show what he can do. And it's going to be great to just see Petey Williams being Petey Williams and still getting his pops and getting his spots in. And I do think it's going to push Steve Macklin closer to the X Division title, possibly for Bound for Glory. I don't see it. Obviously, we got victory with Chris Sabin, but come Bound for Glory or prior to Bound for Glory, we might get Macklin versus Josh Alexander. And then something big.
Could we see Scott D'Amore turn up and save Pete? Save Petey, or could we see maybe Josh Alexander coming in as well? Because there is signs that we could be seeing a new Team Canada with Josh Alexander, Petey Williams. We know that Scott D'Amore is donning the tights for a tag team match with teaming with Josh Alexander in the next sort of week or so. So I don't know. Are we seeing the seed being sown for a potential Team Canada?
Could be. Scott D'Amore's little Easter eggs.
Lots going on. What about you, Steve? What do you think?
Funny, my mind was going in a completely different direction, but
okay, tell us what you think.
Yeah, well, my instant thought was obviously Macklin was going to win the match, and then we were going to see TJP make the save, given what we saw on this week's Impact with the confrontation between Petey making the save for TJP. And then that would lead to maybe a 3-way. But yeah, like I've still not seen it from Macklin to sort of say he's got that X Division factor. I don't know. Like everything about him is fantastic. I love his in-ring work. I love his promo work. Everything is fantastic. But for me, I just haven't seen that no limit factor that says X Division. Well,
his limit is that he doesn't hold back. That's where he's got no limits. He's willing to just go flat out. And it's Josh Alexander has reset this from you don't need to be the biggest high flying guy in the ring. As long as you can
be the best wrestler.
As long as you can deliver what you're good at, then that's what you need to do. And Steve Macklin is one of these guys that is willing to just beat the shit out of you, and that's what he's going to do.
For me, it's like if there was a mid, like a TV title or something, he would be that's the title. Yeah, he would be perfect for.
I could see him in like you suggested the triple threat match. I could see that coming more now that you've mentioned it, and it's something that does bring the relevance of TJP back into the whole thing. That could be where his bet's on at Swingers Palace this week, because he mentioned last week with the whole alteration between Father Bar and No Way about the whole thing with Tasha Steelz. He's got a bet at Swingers Palace, and he's got a dead set he's going to win, and so it's obvious that TJP's money is on Macklin winning. So if Macklin doesn't win, that's when we can get TJP coming out, or TJP could come out to try and fix the match. So something we never know. So TJP's got something to do with this match now. It's perhaps on the table now from the Joker.
Well, there you go. I think we've got 3 Macklin fans here. I'm a big Macklin fan, but again, we're all seeing different things from him. Every time I see him perform, it screams, like I said, like we said before, it screams a Punisher. I think he's really got the idea down to a T. I love the whole kind of like halfway through a match, almost, changing gear and just going into I don't give a shit, I'm going to destroy you mode. I kind of really like that. I think it's an interesting story. It's an interesting build. They're doing it nice and slow. They're doing it the right way. We're not just suddenly getting this guy in and say, look, he's a real beast and he's going to beat everybody. It's not quite like that. They've taken it slowly. They're giving him as much in ring as they possibly can to make him really stand out as a badass heel. So I think there's a big future with this guy. I'm really looking forward to seeing where he goes. If it's X Division titles in his future, I think it is, but we just have to wait and see. So then the next thing we've got advertised is Moose versus Eddie Edwards. Now, this is what I'm saying. I'm not 100% sure what the main event's going to be, because to me, this is main event worthy as well. Moose and Eddie, that's main event written all over it. It's not been stipulated it's anything other than just a match. I'm assuming that we're going to get W. Morrissey in Moose's corner, and of course, I'm pretty certain at some point we're going to see Sami Callihan come out and help Eddie again.
Yeah. It's rekindling that long forgotten rivalry between Moose and Eddie Edwards.
Yeah.
After Sami Callihan broke Eddie Edwards, this was awesome. The way Moose played on it and really, really fucked Eddie Edwards up even more. Just when you thought he couldn't get more messed up, Moose comes along and does what he did to Alicia and to Dreamer and to Eddie Edwards. That was just a great build for Moose in the early stages of his career. And to see it now finally all coming back together, it's like reopening a chapter of an awesome book.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Like Moose has said, is that I'm not the same guy as I was before, and that's going to make it even more better, because we've seen how good Eddie Edwards has been against big guys like Michael Elgin and real monsters in the past. So to see how he's really going to hold up against Moose like this, we've seen him against Moose before, but now Moose has really got his focus dead on Eddie Edwards, like he had with Chris Sabin beforehand.
Yeah,
I fear for Eddie Edwards' safety.
All I know is that I'll tell you this now: Moose and W. Morrissey as a tag team. I mean, Jesus Christ,
that's amazing.
Let's face the facts here. I mean, that is one seriously big, strong, powerful, team.
They've already got the tag name, the Alliance.
Yeah.
Is that what they call themselves?
I'm just pulling it up.
Yeah. Moose has said that, I'm going to stab you in the back as soon as possible. And Morrissey's just like, fine, that's exactly how it should be. That's a great mindset for a team to come into to begin with. And then that's what Eddie Edwards and Sami Callihan are expecting from each other. So them coming together is almost inevitable, and this whole story is a great play on Eddie Edwards and Sami Callihan's relationship with each other. It's just it's a great way to use Morrissey as well, especially coming towards Bound for Glory when his contract's up. So it's great to see what happens to Morrissey after Bound for Glory.
It's
all happening at the perfect time. It really is.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's like
I mean, if Morrissey ends up signing like a proper full-time deal, I think that would be pretty awesome. And I still want to see, and I know a lot of people disagree, but I'd still love to see Enzo turn up at some point as well. But that's just me. I don't need a big old lecture on that one. I personally think he's got great talent on the mic, and I really enjoy his work.
Yeah. I've no problem with him turning up,
but I do enjoy his work.
I've no problem with him turning up. I just like to
love him.
Like to see him separated from Morrissey.
From Morrissey.
Yeah, keep him apart for a bit, because Morrissey on his own is doing fantastic.
He is. He's doing a great job. Can I just say a quick hello to Anna Reid? Hello. You're obviously Villet on Twitter, which is great to see. I don't think I've actually ever seen you in the chat before, so it's lovely to see you. And I get what you're saying. I think we just need to understand that the X division is not about high flyers. It's about no limits. So no weight. There's no limit at all. There's nothing.
It has to be a balance.
So there has to be a balance. We get the high flyers in there. We've got the strong style guys in there. You've got the pure wrestlers. Your Josh Alexander style. So there's plenty in there. And again, there's no reason why in I don't know, when Josh is all done and dusted, you can't suddenly start seeing someone like the Radio Kid turn up and get your high flying style back again. I think that's the beauty of it. At the end of the day, the X division could be anything, and I think that's the beauty of that actual division. Love it. Now, the next match, or the last match that we got advertised for the night, we got an incredible 6 matches tomorrow night, which is pretty awesome. We've got the Queen of Decay, Rosemary, versus the Barriqua Queen, Tasha Steelz. Now, Barika is absolutely going to be a really, really good match. Obviously, Rosemary's going to have Decay in her corner. Tasha Steelz is going to have her new partner, Savannah Evans, in her corner. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this one pans out. I'm hoping that as much as, you know, I love Rosemary and I think a win for her would be awesome at this point, I think Tasha needs this win. So I'm thinking that Tasha's gonna be victorious in this. What about you, Steve? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm kind of going the same way, like, because I got a feeling that the other two partners are going to hook up next week, and part of me feels like Havoc needs the win more than Rosemary.
Okay, that makes sense. What about you, Joe?
Yeah, I think Tasha Steelz is probably going to get the victory in this one, and Savannah and Evans might even get the victory next week, and that'll give them the match for Victory Road for the tag team titles. Although, if I was to give either Rosemary or Havoc a win at the moment, I'd give it to Havoc over Rosemary, as much as I'm a huge fan of Rosemary, and I know right now she's glaring over my shoulder and giving me some death glare. So you know, this is horrible aura at the moment. Something doesn't feel right.
Pick your side.
Yeah. I think there's a difference between rooting for somebody and making an educated guess on who's gonna win the match and why. You know, as much as I would love Rosemary to win because I'm just a massive Rosemary fan, I think Tasha Steelz needs the victory more. So you know, moving forward, that's what I feel. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one pans out. I'm pretty certain we're going to end up with obviously Rosemary and Havoc versus Tasha Steelz, and that's Savannah Evans at some point, possibly Victory Road. I guess that's what they're building to with this one. Maybe we're going to see Havoc versus Savannah Evans next, as they seem to do that. That's what they seem to do, isn't it? When you've got some kind of like tag team thing going on, they seem to separate it down into singles matches for some reason. But you know, I'm sure there's other things that they could do to sort of kind of push tag teams into some kind of feud. But you know, we'll just have to see where this goes.
It's a good way to introduce Savannah Evans to everyone, because she's not had a singles match yet, I don't think. So to have her against Havoc before Victory Road is a great way to at least show everyone what she can do on her. So that's a good thing. That's the best positive you can take from Rosemary losing.
Okay, all right, yeah, no, that's for sure. So it's all working out. It's all working interest the way the sort of kind of intricacies of all this is working out. You know, so again, it's the only knockouts match which is advertised on the card for tomorrow. So what I'm assuming is that we're going to get some vignettes, I guess, with regards to possibly the Influence, Taylor Wilde, maybe Grace and Ellering. We're going to get some stuff with them, and I'm pretty certain we're going to get more Sue Young.
Yeah.
You know, is she going to come and take anybody else away? Who knows? I mean, she could be. She could be. You know, who knows?
You just sort of wonder who's not being. There can't be many knockouts on the roster that really aren't being utilized. I mean, the only one I can think of is Alicia.
No, don't take my Morella away.
Yeah, exactly. We don't want to lose the Mammarella, but there you go. So I'm interested to see what we get with regards to knockouts now. It should be. I guess they're going to start building some stuff up now, with probably more with promos and vignettes going forward. We haven't seen much of Deonna Purrazzo either recently, other than stuff.
But we pretty much know where things are going with Deonna. So
yeah, that's kind of been one of my things. Is like they've built well for her, you know, like to NWA and other things, but we haven't seen any Impact challenges for her on an Impact show, have we?
No, so we need to start rebuilding that now. I mean, now that she's the AAA champion as well, obviously she's going to have some stuff with regards to Lucha Libre AAA. So, because obviously she's going to have to be working there as well. So she's going to have a proper busy dance card, I should imagine, over the coming months, especially if she's going to continue retaining both those titles to continue becoming the belt collector of Impact Wrestling. I'd still like to see her go up against, I know that they're building something with regards to Mickie James at the moment, but I'd still like to see her get over there and get a title shot for the NWA title. I think that would be really cool if they could get something going on with that. And then she could win that one. She's got 3 belts. 3-belt Diana would be amazing. But there you go. Well, anyway, guys, I think that's pretty much wrapped up today's show. We've hit just over an hour and a half. So I'm pretty happy with that. Please don't forget to head over to the TNI Patreon for exclusive extra content when you sign up, obviously. And also make sure you watch tomorrow night's TNA flagship Impact Live review directly after the show. Has aired on Twitch and, of course, YouTube. And also, can you make sure that you give us a thumbs up? Very, very important. If you're new to the show and you like what you hear, make sure that you hit subscribe. And don't forget, if you don't want to miss any of the great content put out by the TNI-UK and US teams, you've got to give the bell a squeeze, a smash, and even a little tickle. Whichever suits you best, guys. Whichever suits you best. TNI is also available, whether it be TNI UK or the other TNI shows, is also available on the Listen on the Go to all you fans who love that, audio only, via SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, wherever you list your favorite shows. Now, come on, guys. Where can we find you? Joe?
The dog's gone mad.
Sammy, I'll tell you what, let's head over to Steve. Where can we find you, Steve? Well, Joe gets himself composed.
Oh dear. You can find me over on Twitter at SimplySteve311, where I put everything Impact Wrestling related, or you can find me over at WrestleBuddy.com, where I put a new article Impact Wrestling related, normally every Thursday. And you can also find any interviews that we may put on WrestleBuddy YouTube, where we done a recent related one with Rohit Raju, and a new one popped out, which I sadly wasn't a part of, with Doug Williams, former X Division champion.
Fantastic. Now, Joe, have you composed yourself, my friend? Are you back from the void?
You can find me, yes. Find me on Twitter at JOK empty space, or jump onto Facebook, look for hashtag empty space, hashtag the void, hashtag daily giggle. Step into the empty space at your own discretion with an open mind, and you might just keep your sanity.
And if you're interested in finding out more about the Bison, then please check me out on Twitter. Give me a follow at Lord Bison 45. I do a lot of my Impact chat on there, loads of stuff. I share lots of stuff. I give my opinions, and it's great to have lots and lots of you guys following and taking note. What's going on with you two? You're doing my nutting. What's going on? What are you looking at? Is somebody sent you something? What's going on? I'm not being part of the joke.
No, I think Steve's just laughing at me getting back into the zone. Getting all broken, Matt Hardy.
Is that right? You're getting back in the zone. Getting back. Okay. Fair enough. So it's been absolutely fantastic. Can I just say, guys, don't forget to check out Wrestle Carnival. Also, we've already talked obviously about Wrestle Buddy. They're doing some interviews over there, and they got some great stuff on the website. And Joe's also available on there as well, leaving articles. And like I say, Steve drops one every Thursday, so make sure you check those out. The other thing I want to mention is don't forget to visit prowrestlingtees.com /total nonstop impact. What's this? Bison? I doubt that, mate. I doubt that, but there you go. You never know. I might have to take some, was it 10x8s or whatever they're called? Is it 10x8s?
8x10s.
Yeah, might have to take some 8x10s. Who knows? The Bison. I think, to be fair, probably Boomer Bison would get more. Probably get more sign-ins than I would. But there you go.
You
So
just-
yeah, don't
just
forget to
look
head
more.
over to. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So don't forget to head over to Patreon. And as I said, head over to prowrestlingtees.com/Total Nonstop Impact to pick up the new, brand spanking new TNI UK logo shirt, which is brand spanking new. We've also obviously got the 3-man booth available now, as well as the old school 2-man booth, just me and Joe. And of course, we've got all the TNI US team stuff as well. I've got the character shirt, the logo shirt, and the new owl shirt, which is pretty cool. So so plenty of stuff over there. Get stuck in. Don't forget to log into the Patreon. We go, got loads going on. That's it. Bison 8x10s. I'm all over it, Bill. I'm all over it. So it's all good. Anyway,
that'll be on Pro Wrestling Tees next. Bison 8x10s.
Yeah, we'll get that on Pro Wrestling Tees. Signed 8x10s. This has been Impacted Live. We hope you've enjoyed spending time with us as we talk about all things Impact Wrestling related. And as I said, please take the time to give us a thumbs up. That helps us go up the rankings. Give us a subscribe. I'm going to say it again. And don't forget to smash, squeeze, and tickle the bell to never miss any of the great content coming from the TNI UK and US teams. Well, all that said, I've been Bison. They have been joining. Well, he has been joining us from the empty space of the void of his mind, the Joker, and of course, the man simply known as Steve. And this has been Impacted 47. Take care, everyone.
See you later.
We